Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we're at Frederick County Animal Control to show you some adoptable animals at the shelter on Rosemont Avenue. And our first guest today is Waylon. And Waylon is a beautiful green-eyed, silver gray domestic short hair who is 1 to 2 years old. And oh, I'm sorry, I think he's 4. Yes, he's 4 years old. And we know that because the family that gave him up to us had him for a whole 4 years and adopted him from us as a kitten. About 10% of our animals are returned to the shelter. And as much as we would like to see every pet end up in a permanent home that lasts, we do encourage people, if for any reason you can't keep the pet, please contact us and give us the chance to take them back and try again and find a better match for them. And Waylon is used to kids and dogs, so he has some great experience to offer. And as you can see, he's very affectionate. He's an active cat and would be a very good companion for people who are choosing to have a cat. Now, his owners said the reason that they didn't keep him was that they had financial restraints. They weren't able to take care of him the way that they would like. And we did notice when he came in that he had a little bald patch on his fur, and the owners told us that they had shaved off a mat. It's pretty unusual for short-haired cats to get matted unless something gets on their fur like gum or pine sap or something like that. So we don't really know how it happened, and we suspect that now that it's been shaved and he's indoors and clean and on a good diet, it probably won't recur, but it is something that we would pass on to anyone interested in Waylon. So if you are interested in Waylon or you know someone who might be, then please check out his profile on Pet Finder or come by the shelter and meet him or pass this information from this episode of Pet Pals along to one of your friends who might be looking for a cat like Waylon. We are back with our next guest, and this is Breeze. Breeze is a domestic medium hair, and her color is known as smoke. It's very beautiful. A lot of people really like it. She's a lovely cat in personality, but you can see that her fur is actually white underneath and only black on the tips. So that color is called smoke, and it comes from Persian type of breeding, but that doesn't mean that she's part Persian. Any cat can be that color. She came to us from a family with kids, all ages. Their family was breaking up, so they decided not to keep the cat as they went their separate ways. She is only, she's a very young cat. She's only 1 to 2 years old, and she is got a lot of experience to offer people, and often people come in this time of year. We get 1,200 kittens between April and October. And so these guys are really up against it with all of the kittens in the shelter because even though the kitten activity might be a deterrent to some, kittens climb things and eat things, and they're very rambunctious and need lots of attention. It's short-lived, so people are thinking in the summer, wouldn't it be great to get a kitten, raise them through their rough and tumble during the summer, and then have a settled-down cat in the fall when school starts up, and that does work out very well. But it makes it harder for these guys to be noticed in the shelter because she's not 8 or 9 years old, so she's not going to be a mellow cat, sedentary, set in her ways, just plug into a family, but she's also not a really cute, tiny little kitten. So if you know somebody who would be willing to take on an active young adult, then it would be a great idea for you to come down to the shelter and meet her. We do get a lot more than just those 1,200 kittens every year. We get 5,500 animals or more, including dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs. So if you are thinking of getting a pet, please consider the shelter first, since we have so many and we definitely want to find homes for as many as possible. And currently we do not find homes for all of them. So if you think that Breeze would make a nice addition to your family, then please come down to the shelter and meet her and see what you think. We are back with Mango, and Mango is a 1 to 2 year old female cat that was found in Frederick. And as you can see, she is a tabby cat, but she has some of the Abyssinian marking features. She has the little black tufts of hair on her ears, and her stripes almost melt away into a more wild coloring. She's a very friendly cat, and since we found her, all we can say about her for sure is that she will be vaccinated and spayed before you take her home. She may or may not have had kittens. We would have no way of knowing. But she definitely was accustomed to people before coming here. She's easily handled and goes in and out of her crate and seeks out company from people, as you can see. So we think that she'll make a great pet despite having been found without her family. And it's also possible that her mother was someone's pet and that she was raised in a home where she just took off at the usual age of 8 or 9 months. And often people don't realize that that's going to happen if they allow cats outside. So if you have a female cat that you're feeding and she's unspayed and she has kittens, then the ideal time for them to get their new homes is between 8 and 12 weeks old, having had the beginning vaccinations, if you can do that, or call us and we can help you figure out how to do that. And then if you hold on to the cats, then you can expect at 9 or 10 months for some of them to want to go their separate ways if they're allowed access to outdoors. Also, it's important to know if you have more than one cat, you will need more than one litter box. Some cats won't share. So Mango is looking for a new permanent home and is available at the shelter on Rosemont. If you would like to know more about her, check out her Pet Finder listing or come by and meet her. We are back with Coconut, and Coconut is 10 to 12 months old, so she still has all the kitten behaviors that you would expect from a youngster. And she, as you can see, she's a gray and white domestic short hair female. She will be spayed before she goes home with you. And one of the things Randy was just sharing with me is that she really does still have the kitten behaviors. She was biting the lock and flipping over and trying to play with Susie, who's her next door neighbor. One of the things you might notice today, which we don't always do, is that Randy has the cats on his lap with a towel. Coconut had an upper respiratory infection, which is a cold, and it is like a daycare center here. All of them are exposed to their own individual cage, but as was just explained, she does reach out the bars and try to touch Susie, and Susie reaches out of her bars and tries to touch the cat above and below her. So we do have to be careful once we notice a cat is sneezing that we keep them isolated from the others. And Randy's just trying to make it that his shirt doesn't become a daycare center for cold germs. So, kitty, kitty. So she is available for adoption, young, and as with Breeze, she does have the competition of the kittens, but since she still has the rambunctious, playful attitude, people walking by her cage will clearly see that she's a kitten. If you know anyone who might be interested in her, please give us a call. Don't forget that we are open until 8 o'clock at night on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and that we're here on Saturdays. And many times, some of your county holidays, we will be open. Just check on our website. We are back with our last guest of the first segment. This is Ella. Ella is a New Zealand bunny. She's quite big. In a minute, she'll be comfortable enough that Randy will let you see her face. She got really scared when we lifted her over here. But she is not a scared bunny. She is very bold. She likes kale. If you give her a carrot and then try to move the carrot, she will smack your hand away from the carrot. So she is a bold girl. And one of the things that's interesting about her is she was found as a stray in the parking lot of a housing complex, taking care of herself. She was there for about a week before somebody was able to approach her and let her, you okay, sweetie? You don't want it. And capture her so they could bring her here so nothing bad would happen to her. Rabbits are food for every kind of animal. Cats don't usually prey on an adult rabbit, but dogs certainly do. We have coyotes in the county. Fox may try to get a rabbit. And of course, wild rabbits will fight with them over territory. So it's a rough life for a pet rabbit to be a stray. So Ella is looking for a permanent home, and she's a pretty bold, outgoing big bunny. So this is not like the little dwarfs that you can just keep in a small box and let them out every day for exercise. She's going to need a lot of room, and she's pretty agile. She can jump up and down off this chair of her own choice. So, and she also has an injury to her eye, which our vet looked at and determined that she either scratched it herself or on a stick or something while she was out in the wild, but it is not affecting her vision and is not expected to change at all. So she doesn't have any special needs. She's just a regular rabbit that will eat hay and get to know you, and when she trusts you, take some food from you. I'm going to see if she'll eat this kale, because usually Ella is quite the chow hound. And we will be back after a short break with a bunch more hounds from Frederick County Animal Control for you to meet and consider as additions to your family.
Hey, look at that large group of paddlers over there.
Yeah, that's that Parks and Rec group again. Nice bunch. They're out here all summer. They do trips on the Monocacy and the Potomac.
They sure look like they're having a good time.
That's probably because the staff is so helpful and informative. Anybody can go on those trips.
Well, what am I doing out here with you then?
I don't know. Neither of us can swim, and you keep sticking me with that hook. Hey, what are you doing? You gonna flip the... Oh!
Need an idea for your child's birthday party? Look no further. At the Middletown Rec Center, we have all your birthday party needs. We have a full-size gymnasium, our large rec room, sports equipment, and many birthday party theme ideas. Each party includes crafts, games, and a story. Please call 301-600-1646 for more information.
If you're 55 or older and looking for a way to get moving and strengthen your body, then join the Frederick Senior Center for its strength training class. This class is offered daily and no pre-registration is required. For just $2 a class, you can develop strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination. Strength training also increases your metabolism, which can help control weight gain and help lower your blood pressure. So stop thinking about it and start exercising today. Classes are offered at the Frederick Senior Center, located at 1440 Taney Avenue in Frederick. For more information and class schedules, call 301-600-1605.
Welcome back. We are back with Tango, and Tango has been here since May the 29th. And we had him on the TV show on June the 4th. So we are doing the best we can for this little guy to see if we can find a good match. And one of the issues that Tango has is being a hound dog, being a found dog. When dogs are found, often people assume that they run away from their owners. And with hounds, that's probably a good assumption, because if they smell a rabbit or smell a squirrel, they will get distracted if off a leash, and they may not be able to hear their owner calling them. However, hounds are excellent at finding their way back home, so there would be no reason for him to stay missing unless he got separated from his family in some more permanent way. Either they didn't want him anymore, or they moved, or he was abandoned, something like that happened. The other thing he has against him is he's only part hound. His other part is probably terrier, even American Staffordshire Terrier, which is one of the pit bull breeds, and that also makes people reluctant to adopt a dog. So all of the things that he has going against him, though, really aren't his fault. You cannot tell by looking at a dog what dog breed there is, and I know everyone would say to that, well, that seems just absolutely unbelievable. But the truth is, the National Canine Research Council has taken dogs that look like houndish or pittish and done DNA testing and shown that, in fact, the outside of a dog is determined by about 3% of his genetics. So you cannot say for sure that he is a hound and or one of the pit bull breeds, but we suspect there's some of that in his lineage. And in any case, his owner has to be aware that some landlords don't allow pit bull breeds. There's 30 different breeds that are under that classification, and some don't even allow mixes or suspected mixes of, because of a recent court decision that made landlords responsible for what their tenants' dogs do. So probably that decision is still in flux and it is on hold and it may be repealed, but in the meantime, we do have to find Tango a home with somebody who will care very much for him and who he is, and look out for him in this day and age of difficulties for dogs that look like pit or part pit. And since he has been here so long, we also need to find somebody who will be willing to take that extra step to commit to a dog that for some reason nobody wants, which we don't understand, because as you can see, delightful dog, nice manners, and he really does have a lot to offer. So I hope that someone sees him, will be able to adopt him or pass his information on to somebody who will do so. We are back with another hound. This is Pappy, and Pappy also came to us as a found hound. He was running loose in a neighborhood and someone found him and brought him into us. We think that he's over 10 years old. So part of the reason for having him on the TV show today is as much to find his family as it is to find him a new home if we can't. He's already neutered. He likes people. And there is this mythology that says that if your older dog runs off, two things. Probably that he went off to die, which I don't know where that came from, because that just, I bet that doesn't happen, or we would not have 5,500 dogs and cats every year. But it also, another reason is that people assume an older dog like this wouldn't survive very long on the street, and so they give up hope. They look for him for a few days and say, well, for goodness sake, he must have been hit by a car or he'd be back by now. One of the things that they don't realize is that a neighbor can take him in, try to find you. If there aren't signs put up in the neighborhood and they're not able to, then they're going to bring him to us if we're lucky, because then we'll be able to find you. But he didn't have a microchip. He doesn't have a collar. Well, he has a collar that we gave him. So we weren't able to find anything that would help us to find his owner. So if you are interested in taking on a sweet older dog like Pappy, and don't let his demeanor here fool you, he's lovely indoors, but when he's outside, he bays like the best of them. And or if you know somebody who would be interested, then please pass this picture along. But most importantly, if you know of anyone who lost their beagle and assumed that they were not going to be able to find him, please remind them to check at the shelter, because as you will see with our next few guests, we have plenty of beagles. Most of them come to us as strays, and we would love to be able to reunite more animals with their rightful owners. We are back with another found hound. This is Wilbur, and as you can tell from looking at Wilbur, he was not in the wild for very long. So he also belongs to somebody who wasn't able to find him, and we are now looking for a new home for Wilbur. Wilbur's got lots of good behaviors with people. He's attracted to people, a lot of tail wagging. He's an easy keeper, as they say, and he has a nice typical beagle bay when it's time to go outside. So for people who like beagles and hounds that just go with everybody and love everybody, then Wilbur is your guy. As you can see, he knows that Randy has treats. Wilbur, don't leave. So he pretty much do anything for a little piece of pepperoni. If you think that maybe we can get him to do his beagle bark. But if you know anybody who likes beagles or who might be interested in a dog like Wilbur, then please send them over our way, because as you can see from today's episode, we have a lot of hounds. And although we always have a few, it is unusual for us to have so many, and we really do need help finding them the right kind of home that can appreciate their loving nature, their love of good food, and their willingness to go off on an adventure if you don't watch them carefully. And just so you know, Wilbur is scratching, but we treat all our dogs for fleas and ticks, so he does not have fleas or ticks. And the treatment we use is Revolution. It lasts 30 to 45 days, so you'll be okay. If you want to take Wilbur home, just let us know. We would love to find him a perfect match. We are back with Chelsea, and Chelsea's also a beagle, a hound, but Chelsea was not a stray. Chelsea was given to us by her family, who originally adopted her from us. Chelsea is, I'm just going to check her age, which I think is 3 to 4. Yes, 3 to 4 years old. We spayed her when she was originally here, and she is definitely shy of new people. It's kind of good for her to come back to the shelter because she's used to it here and she's been here before. Oftentimes people think that dogs suffer in the shelter because we use cages, but for dogs that have lived in a backyard or lived on the street or who have ever been to a boarding kennel, the shelter is no more than part of their regular life. So they don't find it to be as hard on them, oh, she's shaking now, as it would be for a pet that's never experienced going to the vet or being left at a boarding kennel. So what we would like to do is find a home for Chelsea that will allow her to warm up to them slowly. She's lovely. She is affectionate. She takes food. As you saw, she's not too scared to eat. But then maybe she would never be too scared to eat. But she is a lovely, lovely dog. She's just afraid of new people. So we think that she'll make someone a great pet. She'll just need to be pampered in that way when guests come over, that she wouldn't be expected to jump up in their lap. And some people might even like that. A dog that won't jump on and bother guests can be a great thing. And Chelsea definitely has that to offer. She is a cute little girl. We would like to see her lose a little bit more weight. She's lost a little bit since she came in. But as I said earlier with Wilbur, hounds are easy keepers, and it can be really hard for people to believe that she only needs a quarter cup of dog food twice a day. And it looks so tiny in the bowl, and she will probably eat it in about 4 seconds, and that makes it hard for people. Also, what can help is grain-free food doesn't have any corn in it. Sometimes beagles are easy to put on weight when they eat a lot of carbs, same as some people, so that can help her too. But we are working on it here, and we will look for a home for her where they'll continue that kind of progress for her. Dogs don't have occluded artery disease like people, so it's not dangerous for them to be overweight. But it can cause wear and tear on her joints, and when she gets older, it will matter if she can get around better if she's a little more trim. So if you know of anyone who might be interested in Chelsea, who is a patient and kind soul who can understand that new people just give her the bejeebies. So please refer them to us so that we can find her the right home as soon as possible. We are back with our last guest. Emily is another found hound, and she is 5 to 7 years old. We are taking a guess, of course, because she came to us as a stray and she didn't have a microchip, so she can't tell us how old she is or where she's lived. But we are featuring Emily last because Emily caught a cold while she was here, which happens to us, you know, every 2 or 3 years. We get a dog that's a stray or someone gives up that has kennel cough. And you may know from taking your own dogs to a boarding kennel, most boarding kennels require you to get a flu vaccine for kennel cough so that your dog will be protected while at the kennel. Well, when dogs come here as stray, we have no idea what their vaccination history is. So we are currently giving the kennel cough vaccine when dogs come in, but some dogs don't have enough time for the vaccine to take effect before they are exposed to the germ. As I said about our kitties, it's like a daycare center here, and if somebody gets a cold, it usually spreads to a few others. And Emily does have the cold right now, so we are keeping her in our sick room, which means if you're interested in meeting her, just come in and tell us. We'll take you back there. We do ask you to visit with all of our other dogs first and then see her last, and that's so that you would be able to pet and interact with her and then leave so that you're not spreading it to our other dogs here. But another thing to consider, which Randy is thinking of, we both have dogs at home, of course, so we will wash our hands, probably change a shirt before going back to our own dogs at home. And I can say that all my years of working in animal clinics and shelters, which has been almost 30 years now, none of my dogs at home have ever caught anything that I picked up at work. Now I'll, you know, knock on wood later and make sure that that is not just luck. But I just do minimal, you know, wash my hands a lot and change a shirt if necessary. And that really does protect them. Plus, my dogs at home are vaccinated, and my vet helps me with that. So if you are interested in Emily, then I'm surprised that she's so quiet on the chair. And it is possible that in her home she wasn't allowed on the furniture, because I placed her up on the chair and she's just not moving at all. She's a very active little dog. She would, you know, she jumps right out of her cage. She lies down, stands up, sits when you ask her to. So I'm surprised that she's staying up here, because she is more energetic than she appears to be now. And I would want you, if you're considering her, to know that. So if you think Emily would be a good match for you, come meet her, because she has more personalities than just this. And it also could be that since she started coughing today, maybe she doesn't feel too well. So you're not seeing her at her best. But we do encourage you to get your pets vaccinated, especially if you go to a dog park or walk around town. But kennel cough by itself is not a big emergency. We don't euthanize for it here. So the dogs are still offered for adoption during the time that they're recovering and on medication. We do have a vet here, for anyone who doesn't know that. We have 3 veterinarians who come in and do spay and neuter, 1 veterinarian who works 3 days a week, and several volunteer vets who give of their time generously to come in and examine our pets and give us opinions about how we can best care for them. So we hope that you have enjoyed all of our found hounds and our one return to shelter hound and our chow hound Ella today, and that you may have found a perfect match for you or someone you know and can refer them to the shelter. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next time. If you want to pass on this episode of Pet Pals to someone, check out the web link below.